fire.
What are the issues that are, showing up in your neck of the woods when you're knocking doors and talking to people? What are they asking you on the doorsteps?
Well, because it's so early in the year and because it's my first time getting to talk to them, it's not a whole lot of issues that they're, bringing up to me, but education is definitely one. Mostly about funding and keeping teachers in, the schools because, um, you know, they're aware of the teacher or lack of teacher retention rate here in Oklahoma. And, um, there was even talk of a substitute teacher shortage earlier this year. And, I talk about how, whenever I'm only like this is only my 6th year out of high school, and I substitute at the high school that I used to go to school at, and only about 8 of the teachers there that I had when I was there are still there.
Wow.
So yeah, like that's and I was there all 4 years, and sure, I had a handful of teachers more than once because I was in band, so all 4 years I only had two
Is
different
Mr.
band
Bartley
directors.
still there?
Mr. Bartley, oh, of course, yeah, he's still there. Yeah, I've subbed for him a couple of times actually. But yeah, he's still there. But yeah, like a lot of the teachers that I had are gone, and I'm not that far out of high school, but why are they gone? I know some of them retired, but that's not the bulk of why most of them gone or left. I know some of them went to another state so they can be able to teach, or they moved somewhere else in the state for, a little bit better of an opportunity. Like I think some of them were coaches, so they decided, to go get a head coaching job as opposed to assistant coaching job or something of that nature. But, paying teachers more, especially starting out, because I emphasize the starting pay for teachers. I believe it's 34,000 now because of since 2018. But I mean, sure, as a single person in Oklahoma, that might be an okay wage, but if you're wanting a family, it's not good. Like that's poverty for sure. And depending on the size of the family, even if it's just 4 people, I'm pretty sure that's not, you're not going to be.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this debate the other day because we were talking about freezing ad valorem taxes on property owners on fixed incomes that are 65 and older. They're having that exact debate about, well, are we kind of cutting off our nose to spite our face by doing this? How much are we going to lose in taxes going to public schools, et cetera?
Yeah, and I talk about that because I remember someone was complaining. I've heard this is like online stuff, but I've seen people complain about schools not hiring. There's someone specifically talking about Shawnee. They were saying that they don't hire people who graduated from Shawnee High School or Shawnee to be teachers. And I started thinking, I was like, so what?
I said, you proved that wrong.
Well, true. Like I thought about it and I was like, okay, well, I know I'm there and I graduated from there recently. There's someone else that I graduated with who I know they're not necessarily working as a teacher, but they work there with the kids as something. I can't remember the name of the position. It's something new that they didn't have whenever I was there, but that person's a year younger than me, but graduated. And then who else? There's like maybe one other person, I think, that's like a recent graduate that also works within Shawnee Public Schools. But first of all, they do hire people who graduated from Shawnee, but also you have to think about it. If you decide to become a teacher and you want to make a living as a teacher, is staying in Oklahoma really the best thing for you after you graduate? And a lot of people decide, no, it's not. So they leave if they get an education degree, just like they leave if they've already been a teacher here for 10 or 15 years and they go to Texas or some other state that's going to pay them more. So that's not really an issue of the school district not hiring former graduates. It's if someone is going into education as a former graduate of Shawnee, they're going to probably leave the state, or if someone does think about becoming a teacher, they decide not to go through with that and decide to major in something else or go into some other profession that's going to make them more money. So, teacher pay is the way that you're going to be able to get more people to want to be teachers and stay in the districts. And even if they're not necessarily graduates of Shawnee, I'd like to have more teachers who live in the district and are part of the community. And how do you do that? You pay teachers more, so therefore they're incentivized to want to move into the community because they have the money to be able to purchase a house or something of that nature and move. Because there's plenty of teachers I know that commute at least a good 40 minutes to an hour from Del City, Midwest City, Oklahoma City, other places like that, and aren't even thinking about buying a house or moving to Shawnee because that's an expense within itself. And then also they don't make enough money to possibly put a down payment on a new house or anything like that. So those are things I feel like people don't necessarily think about whenever they think about, hiring of teachers or why people don't do XYZ thing whenever they're teachers or whatever. But yeah, let's see. I don't even remember what it was you asked me. You were asking about what are people saying on the doors and stuff. But yeah, that's something I've heard people complain about is education and funding and stuff like that. That's the
Yeah.
bulk of what I've heard people talk about on the doors, especially after they hear that I'm a substitute teacher. They want to talk about education. But I'm sure there's going to be more things eventually when I start knocking more doors and once it gets closer to the election. Because I was told by people that most people at this point, for two reasons, they're probably not going to have a lot to say because A, first time they're meeting me probably, and then B, it's so far away from the election, they're not thinking about much of anything.
Yeah.
But, it's still good to make contact with them. And, once you make contact with them again, they'll probably have something, or it'll be close to the election that, of course, they'll have something that they want to say. So, yeah.